sad truth is that many who stay the same, actually the longer they stay the same, then sooner or later they will step out of the game. The longer you stay the same, the more backward that you tend to go. It happens in church life. It happens with Jesus. Those who stay the same, their life gets turned around and changed. And they all of a sudden become Christian. They know that their future is decided, and they've put their faith in Jesus Christ, and they know that eternal salvation is their future. But if they stay the same, gradually and steadily, they'll slowly slip back. It's the same with those who have the same attitude towards his bride, the church. Stay in the church as long as the church provides what I wanted to provide. Stay in the church as long as the church makes available for me everything that I want. Makes the place comfortable for me. Makes the sound at the right kind of level that I want. Makes the atmosphere the kind of level that I wanted. The preaching is not offensive and it's okay and it's the kind of thing I want to hear. But when something happens that you didn't ask for, or when that what your expectation isn't met, then if we haven't got a clear and an ongoing and a strong relationship with the provider, then the provision doesn't match, our expectation falls, and we slowly and steadily walk away. The ones who stay the same will eventually step out of the game. And it happens again and again and again. You see, they wanted Jesus to be the provider of all things for them, but Jesus understood and he knew. They wanted him to just be the one who gave them everything they needed. And Jesus insightfully said later on, chapter 6, he said, "Truly I say to you, you're looking for me not because of what the signs you saw, but because you ate your loaves and you had your fill. You're just looking for breakfast. If I continue to provide you breakfast, you'll follow. But as soon as I don't provide you breakfast anymore, you'll walk." I wonder how many of us in the room today are staying the same. As we look back over the last 5 years of our lives, and we look for where we were 5 years ago, where are we today? Is our passion higher? Is our passion cooler? Is our connection with Jesus and our relationship with him stronger, or is it weaker? Is our passion for the lost and for the one stronger, or is it weaker? Are we caught up in stuff that disappoints us and expectations that are not filled, and we're thinking, I'm going to walk away from this? Where are we? Are we the same as where we were? Or are we further on? Is our vibrancy stronger? Is our light brighter? Is our salt more salty than it was 5 years ago? Where are you? Are you the ones who stay the same? Or are you the ones who are rising in your passion? I mean, I'm perspiring up here. But I think it's because every day my passion for Jesus and for the lost is rising and getting increased and increased every single day, because the more years that I add onto my life, then I know the less years that are left to make any kind of difference. All of you are so young in this room today, you think it's all available for you, but it's not. And people are dying outside these doors every day going to a lost eternity. Because why? They stay the same. Ones that stay the same. See, they wanted Jesus to become king. They wanted him to be the one that they could control and decide and determine. This is the kind of king we want. And it's so dangerous sometimes if we want the Jesus that we want and describe that the Jesus that I want is a Jesus that won't offend me, he won't confront me, he won't challenge me, he won't ask more of me, he won't irritate me, he won't tell me about my lifestyle, he won't tell me about my priorities, he won't tell me about my church. That's the Jesus I want. But that's not the Jesus that's available. The Jesus that's available is one that doesn't want you to stay the same. He wants you to move on, because the Bible is very clear here. It says that how Jesus responded to them. You see, they were asking in chapter 6 and verse 30, he said, "What sign then will you give, and whether we may see that we might believe you?" And Jesus then said to them, "Look, I'm the bread of life. It's me that you need to believe in. It's a revelation of me that you need. It's an understanding of who I am that you need to get. Then no matter what doesn't come your way, what expectations don't happen, what disappointments do come, if you get an understanding of who I am, you'll still be passionate. You'll still be on fire. You'll still be alive, because it's me that your relationship is, not with what I give you. If you're dependent on the stuff I give you, then you're always going to be disappointed, because the stuff's not always going to come through, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. The stuff in your life is not always going to come the way you want it. It's not always going to land in your lap. And outside the doors, it's so interesting that so many people are so interested in what the church can give and what the church can make available, but they're not interested in the God of the church. They're not interested in the Jesus of the church. And our heart's desire is that every charitable thing we do is behind it this big thing of, it's Jesus that we want to tell you about. He is the why behind our what. He is the reason why we've got charity. He's the reason why we want to help you. He's the reason why we will love you. It's because of what He's done in our lives and what He can do in yours. It's getting a fresh understanding of the provider, not the provision. Ones who stay the same. And Jesus said to them, oh, that you would believe in me, that you have a revelation in who I am. That's what the ones who stay the same need. Maybe today you need a fresh revelation of who Jesus is again. Maybe it's a freshness of your eyes being open again to believe and understand who He is and what He's done for you. Oh, you remember so clearly that day that you said yes to Jesus. He was the best thing since sliced loaf. I know it's an old-fashioned idiom. But you know what I mean. You put something else in there, the best thing, whatever it is. But you remember that day when you invited Jesus into your life and you realized that your sins were gone. Passion was at an all-time high and you thought you'd give your whole life for Jesus. But 5 years on, you stayed the same. 5 years on, it's as it was before. And maybe today He's saying, you know, today it's time for a fresh revelation of who I am. It's time for a fresh insight, a time for a fresh understanding of who I am. Who do you believe in today? Is He the one that you say, I know whom I believe in, whom I have persuaded that He is able to keep everything that I give Him, everything that I entrust to Him. He's able to keep it. Getting a fresh understanding of who Jesus is. But Jesus had two outlooks, I guess, for the ones that stay. And we need to have the same outlook. You see, an outlook of benevolence and an outlook of influence. The outlook of benevolence was He was full of compassion for the ones who stayed the same. And we must never ever lose the compassion that you and I have for the ones whose lives will stay the same. Our compassionometer must be at an all-time high. Has to be. He looked out on the same crowd, this same crowd, and it says that He saw them as sheep without a shepherd. Shepherdless sheep. It says, and He was filled with compassion, their pain in His heart. Oh, that we would grab hold of that. When Jesus is looking out for the ones who stay the same, He's looking out with a heart of compassion. For those in your world that you're praying for and hoping that they would change, hoping that they would get a revelation of Jesus and they don't, our compassion should never drop. We should never have our condemnation rise, but our compassion should rise. That you and I should constantly be looking outward with a heart for other people. But I love what it says, how Jesus had His benevolence rose, but He didn't let His influence rise also. See, it's so easy sometimes for the influence of those who stay the same to impact you and I. Maybe you're married to somebody who's just one of those who stays the same. Can I say to you, don't let them take you down. Don't let them influence you to become negative about God. Don't let you get cold. Come alive and bring them up with you. Maybe there's somebody in your family. You see, last night I had a lovely lamb chop. It was great. Went out to Marks and Spencer's, got a beautiful lamb chop. Just the best. And I cooked this lamb chop, medium rare as I like them, a little bit of ooze. I just love it. But I put salt all over the lamb. I had salty lamb. I didn't have lammy salt. With me? It was the salt that flavored the lamb, not the lamb that flavored the salt. Jesus says here that He separated Himself from the crowd and went on His own and prayed. He didn't let their desires to be king be the thing that drew Him. Say, oh man, it's amazing. They're going to make us king. They're going to make me king. Come on, disciples, let's go. This is our moment. This is our time. The crowd want us to be king. Let's be king. No, He wouldn't let the ones who stay the same influence Him. And can I encourage you, don't let the ones who stay the same influence you. Don't let the ones who don't want to move forward in God be the ones who influence you. Be salt in their lamb, not lamb flavored salt. The ones who stay the same.